Let us pray. Father, we gather here this afternoon to honor you and to pay a fitting tribute to a soldier who has served our country with honor. As a great leader, he has given a portion of his life in selfless service to you and to our country. We pray that you would accept this occasion as a joyful celebration of Thanksgiving on behalf of his faithful service. May you continually hold him and his family in the palm of your hand as new adventures unfold him. Provide him with a distinct vision of this next chapter of his life and the grace to live it fuller. Thank you for allowing him to pass our way, and may we all now sense a bountiful measure of your presence as we celebrate this ceremony together. And I ask this in your name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please join me in a round of applause for the team of soldiers who assisted in with setting up today's ceremony for those soldiers currently participating in the ceremony. Also give a round of applause and special thanks to the 282nd Army Band, Fort Jackson, for providing the music for today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Lieutenant General Michael X. Garrett, the Commanding General of the United States Army Central, thank you for attending today's celebration of service ceremony. Our host for today's celebration of service ceremony are the United States Army Central Chief of Sustainment Brigadier General Jonathan McCullough and the G4 Sergeant Major Kara Rodder. We would like to extend a special welcome to our distinguished guests, United States Army Central Chief of Staff Brigadier General James H. Raymer and Sumter County Council Chairman, Mr. James T. McCain, Jr. Other distinguished guests, directors, staff of the United States Army Central, family members, friends, and colleagues of our retirees being honored today during today's ceremony. Each month, a celebration of service ceremony is held to honor our soldiers and Department of Army civilians who have served their country with distinction. Today, we honor one retiree, Sergeant First Class Demetrius Moore, who is retiring after 25 years of service. An official biography for Sergeant First Class Moore is located in your program. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the presiding officer for today's celebration of service. Please give a warm welcome to our Chief of Sustainment, Brigadier General Jonathan McCullough.
Well, thank you very much. In the absence of our Commanding General, General Garrett, we also have General Raymer, who is the Chief of Staff, good friend I've found in serving this short time, and a very smart guy. Mr. Anthony, Deputy, glad to have you, and then from the council here in Sumter, glad to have you with us here today. Members of USARCENT, and of course, family and friends, and to this delightful family that has decorated this environment with their presence this afternoon, welcome aboard. And for you, in the very beginning, I want you to know that you are so very welcome, and we're glad that you're here today. So the families mean so much. So USARCENT members, will you just join me in applaud for the family and everything? Now this is a great event, and I've always, and those who've been around me before know that I don't care for the stoicness that we have naturally in the military environment. So the first thing I want to do is I want to let some of that hot air out of here. So take a deep breath, relax, and let it go. Let's have a great time today as we honor Sergeant First Class Moore, and of course honor the family and friends who traveled from distant and far to be with us this afternoon, and they all look so very good. Now, just a few words of warning. I'm from a town called Warner Robins, Georgia, all right? And Warner Robins, Georgia is in the very south, okay? So I want you to know that I didn't learn to speak English until I was in about the 10th grade. All right, so every now and then I revert back to my founding, to my youth, okay? And I can't help it. It's something that's deep down on the inside. And even right now, I have to fight it to keep it there. But sometimes I lose, all right? So before I say anything, I want to make sure I if there was a board here, you would see this little chart that interprets some of the words that I say that we use in Georgia, okay? All right, so if you hear me say, hold it, that just means wait a minute, okay? All right, so we don't pronounce the D in that. If you hear me say, ain't got, it just means I don't have, okay? Are you with me, all right? So far, so good. I got to make sure, especially the family members. If I say I'm fixing to, it doesn't mean that I'm a maintenance guy. It just means that I'm about to do something, okay? All right? So far, you with me? If somebody says that the folks in the room were kind of uppity or bougie, that just means that they were sophisticated, okay? All right? Just a couple more. If I say I'm thirsty and I want to drink, it doesn't mean I really want to drink water, okay? It means I want a Coke. But it doesn't really mean I want a Coke. It means I want a soda, all right? So I want you to know that a drink means a Sprite, a Coca-Cola, a Pepsi, it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure we understand. Are you with me thus far? Okay, and a couple more. If I say just by chance, I'm looking at the guy who's operating the audio-visual equipment. If I say mash the button, I'm actually meaning press the button, okay? Just want to make sure. And then just a couple more. If I look at you and I honestly say Junebug, that's just a parochial term that means I like you, okay? And it's something that we use. And the final term, if I say bless your heart, it means a lot, but I want you to know that it doesn't all the time mean something good. Okay? I'll give you an example. If your wife walks in the house and she just got a brand new hairdo, she sat in that place and got a hairdo and walked in the house, only thing you can say sometimes is what? Bless your heart. And you won't say anything else. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Okay, just want to make sure you understand. Just one more. If somebody's in the church, because I know we've got some people in the church here today, and somebody starts singing in the church, and they sing a solo, and it's not really coming out the way that you think it should, everybody murmurs under their breath in church with a smile, bless your heart, okay? So it means good things and it means bad things, okay? So that's just it. So now we've got some of the interpretation out of the way. I just want to make sure we understand. A couple other things. I know that today we have some folk from Sergeant Moore's church. I believe the church is New Birth Ministries, right? From New Birth Ministries we have Pastor Brown, Michael Brown, is that right? All right, and his wife, Mary. All right, so glad to have you today. I have to let you know that when the clergy comes participates in events like today, that I have to always impress upon them my ability about the Bible. Okay? So I heard something, I'm not sure that it's right, but you can help me out. I learned something that men are totally responsible for preparing coffee, for cooking coffee. Men and fathers and sons are totally responsible for cooking coffee. And the reason I know that is that in the Bible, there's a book after Philemon. It's called Hebrews. So I just want to make sure that you're with me. All right, so you are with me, okay? All right, and I would allow a youth pastor to come up and say something, but the last time we let a pastor come up here, the election tree went around in our city. So we can't do that today. And I know also that if we let you come here, we won't get out of here until 8 o'clock tonight. So Pastor, if you don't mind, we're glad you're here, but you just keep your seat right there. Okay? All right, good. We got some of the other things out of the way. These things are really big. Retirements are big. And they're real big because in the very beginning, in the theater of my mind, if we go back to 1975, first when Sergeant Moore was born, and we bring that on up until the time he made the decision to come into the Army, that was a major, major decision. Did you not know that if not for a voluntary military, that we would have to have conscription? And we don't even have to contemplate conscription because we still have people willing to volunteer. I know there's a little bit of money, get a little check every now and then, you might get a little bit of education, but there's something great when someone leads by the example of the one who gave us the ultimate example, no greater love than a man who's willing to lay down his life for a friend, nothing greater. And that's what we're doing, and even those who are in uniform. And I found out even today, there are some family members that have served in the military. Thank you. I'm on your shoulders. We're on your shoulders. But to do that, and all of us, and even Sergeant Moore, made that statement, I'm American. I serve in the forces which guard our country and our way of life. I'm prepared to give my life in their defense. That's a big deal. And I don't know that all Americans understand that, but I think most do, because we hear it wherever we go, people saying, thank you for your service, grateful for your service. So that's a big deal. So that's what we honor today. We honor the one who dared lay down, put himself in a situation because he has done it. And you can tell by the stripes that are on his right sleeve, the amount of times that he's deployed. Several times, willing to lay down his life for a friend, for his country, the greatest and most powerful nation with the most powerful military in the world. And the most powerful military in the world comes from individuals who are performing utmost, such as Sergeant First Class Moore. So family members, you have a reason to be proud today, and your presence should be exclaimed greatly. And I want you to leave here today saying, man, we have a family member that served for 24 years. Because you know, you can actually give up. Because serving in the military is like running a track on a quarter-mile track. You start off on that first quarter mile, you're running, you feel real good, you're young, you got plenty of energy. By the time you complete the first lap, then you're getting your breathing together, but you're not finished. You complete that second lap, by then you've got 10 years. That's the decision point. The decision point where you say, well, I've completed 10, maybe I can go ahead and complete 10 more. So he decided to complete 10 more. And he finished, so he's on his third lap. And he's on his fourth lap. And then by the time he reached his fourth lap, he decided, well, I got 4 or 5 more. Just like Forrest Gump. You ask him, he just kept running. And finally, he decided, you ask him, well, why you stop? Because I'm tired. I want to go do something else. So today, we're talking about Sergeant Moore today, who's decided that he's going to stop and he's going to go do something else. And he's already determined that. Sergeant Moore, why don't you come on up? Nobody else is here today. So Sergeant Moore has had a distinguished career. He's done a lot of good things, including he has a vibrant family who's with him, especially 3 kids that are with him today. And I said kids, but they know what I mean. And the oldest being Chanel Brown. She's here. She's a lovely young lady adorned with a nice beige thing, I'll call it. And she's a writer, and she's well on her way, and she has already determined she's going to take copious notes. All right. Last name is spelled M-C-C-O-L-U-M-N, okay? All right. So when you write that thing up, now make it look good, all right? Okay, and we have a son who's a junior. And his name is Demetrius. Oh, well, he's Jewish, so his name is Demetrius, right? Mm-hmm. And he's about 6'10" or 11. And he's trying to decide which one it is, 6'4" or 5, but he'll get it. And we have the youngest daughter who's in high school, and she's a dancer. And I believe that's destiny, am I right? So to you 3, glad that you're here today. And these are his offspring. Did I do that right, Sergeant?
You did a great job, sir.
Thank you very much. Keep saying that, okay? And then we have some family members, some uncles also that are here, and some other relatives, and we have some friends and former military. Now let's talk a little bit more about Sergeant Moore so we can get on out of here. Sergeant Moore's done a lot, as I said. He was born in 1975. 75 was a great year. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that took place, and I want to spend time talking about a couple of them. In 1975, I believe that the Wheel of Fortune debuted. Just to give you an idea at the time he was born. The Steelers beat the Vikings in the Super Bowl in 1975 when he was just coming into the world. Russia breaks trade agreement with the U.S. Can you say that some things are perpetual in that same year? There was a very popular TV sitcom, and I'll see if you can name it. I think it goes something like, I don't know if I can say it right, grits don't burn on the kitchen, beans don't burn on the grill. What was that? Took a whole lot of trying just to get up that deal. Y'all know what I'm talking about? We're moving on up. What was the name of it? What was the name of it again?
Jefferson.
Jefferson. It'll make you want to do a little George Jefferson. No, I can't do that though. That's a dancer right there. Can you do that? You come on up and do no. Okay, so yeah, so 1975, and then 1993 about he decided to come into the Army, and when he came to the Army, his first assignment, I believe, he went to Alaska. He decided that he was going to be an engineer, work in engineering, and he's done that for his full military career, doing some great things in PACOM. And I believe that either while there in Alaska at Fort Richardson, right? Yes. As a carpentry, into the carpentry skill set in engineering. I'm not sure it was this time or a time because he served at Fort Richardson before. One of the greatest things that he had the opportunity to do was serve in an island south of Hawaii called Fiji. And in Fiji, he believed that one of the greatest things that he could do was to see people's faces enlighten when he was responsible for joining some others in providing running water for 100 families in Fiji. Now that's a big deal when you're out on these missions and you get to really do something that helps somebody else. He also had the opportunity, I believe, while there to set up, or at one time or another, set up or build, construct fences for security for a school with approximately, I guess, the size of 3 football fields. So you really get to do some interesting things in the military, and people don't know that. They tend to think if you ask a kid, to give you ask a question about what do you do in the military, the first question they're going to ask, how many people have you shot? Or how many did you shoot anybody? But the military does so many great things, and he's had an opportunity to do those as an engineer. After serving in Alaska, he went on to Fort Polk, Louisiana, where he served at the 46th Engineering Battalion. That's where he actually built the border fence down in Arizona. Anybody heard of a border fence lately? Interesting. From there, he returned to good old Fort Richardson, where he served with the 84th Engineering Battalion, which is where he had the opportunity to build roads, if you would, through Annette Island Mountains, through the mountains of Alaska. And he also deployed, I believe his first deployment when he served in Iraq. Afterwards, he went to Fort Drum, New York. And, if you don't know where Fort Drum is, it's very cold. It's north of Syracuse, and it's pretty close to Montreal. So, very cold place. There he served with Special Troop Battalion of the 1st BCT, and he also deployed when he was there. Thereafter, he moved to PCS to Fort Stewart, Georgia, where he served with the 92nd Engineering Battalion, Construction Section Sergeant in Afghanistan. He got the opportunity to go to Egypt thereafter, where he did some very interesting things there in Egypt, and thereafter he went to Savannah to serve in the Savannah District, and then deployed or was in support of a team called FEST-A. And FEST-A is Forward Engineering Support Team Advanced. And he served in that with the Corps of Engineers, where he had the opportunity, and I believe this was in Egypt. Am I right?
No, sir, Kuwait.
Kuwait. Okay, I was close, all right. All right. Where he served, and he gave them credit, 8 of the brightest civilians. And that's another thing when he recognized the performance of those individuals. 8 other individuals, and in 6 countries in 6 months, they completed projects. One being the Mosul Dam. And if you've heard of the Mosul Dam, that's in Iraq, and that's a big deal right now, even now. He also had that 13-month deployment in Egypt, where he served at the Gulf of Aqaba, near Jordan, Israel, and Egypt. And there he visited Cairo, Tel Aviv. So, Pastor, here's your Israel expert away. So you got one right here. He's already been there. So you can ask him questions if you, and he's smiling right now saying, don't ask me questions about Israel. I just visited, right, sir? All right, just agree with me and you'll be all right. Okay? And there's some other interesting facts that are kind of hilarious. You look at Sergeant Moore right now, he says, I came into the military at 179 pounds. And now he says I'm 205 pounds. But in all honesty, that's not too bad. Looking at myself, I came into the military at 130 pounds, and I'm 185 pounds. So I picked up 50 pounds. You've only picked up, what, maybe 20 pounds? I think that's pretty good. Would you agree? Only thing is that I asked him when he walked in the office to take his shoulder pads off because he has big, broad shoulders. In short, regarding Sergeant Moore, I think he's done some really big things while serving in the military, and I think they're quite noteworthy. I tell you what, where's your dad? Your dad's here. There he is. I tell you what, when we see our kids go off and do great things and begin to develop their own lives, it's such a warm feeling on the inside. Yes. And right now, I can sense that there is a warm feeling on the inside in watching your flesh and your blood now retire from the military. And to those who are the recipients, as kids, you knew I was coming to you. He set the example for you. Number one is the goal. Number two, by mistake. That is the plan, and it's already been demonstrated for you. So you can see that your father's done great things. Finally, I want to leave something else with Sergeant Moore, and then I'm going to give him the podium so he can say whatever he wants to say. Although he's retiring right now, he's not at the age of what I call true retirement. But each time I do something here for retirement, I always prep the individual for retirement later on. So I want to tell him something that he gets to look forward to. It probably won't be him, but I want to just put this in his mind if he does the right thing or the wrong thing. So, Sergeant Moore, do know this, that this is an advertisement that you're going to have to post if you don't do the right thing or you do the good thing or the bad thing. This is one of them, and I saw it. This is how it's advertised. I'm a male, born in 1975. High mileage, good condition, have some hair, mostly on my toes. Many new parts, including hip, knee, cornea, valves. Isn't in running condition, but walks very well. Okay, that's one. Secondly, I can usually remember Monday through Thursday. If you can remember Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, let's put our two heads together. Okay? So remember that as you get older, that you've got to stay focused, stay determined, and then tell everybody about your business. Without further ado, Sergeant Moore, come on and talk to us.
Well, before I get started, sir, my mom's here. Hey, Mom.
I am so
My mom's here.
Hey, Mom, I'm ready to
First and foremost, I would like to give honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, I wouldn't be standing before you today. I would like to give honor to Brigadier General McCullum as well. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity to share with this with my family and my loved ones. Distinguished guests, General Ranger, thank you. To my pastor, Michael Brown, and my First Lady, Marion Brown, thank you for your true spiritual guidance, leadership, and most important, love. 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. To my mother, Janice Day, and my father, Otis Bartlett, who were my role models growing up. To my dad's work ethic, there's no failure attitude, and my mom's humbleness and love for people. Pastor, that's where I get it from. So, to my children, who I strive to be an example for, and who has been my motivation to accomplish every mission and get back home safely. To your mother, she did a wonderful job raising you guys when I was gone. To all my family and closest friends, first son Bert, Mr. Dearman, I can't say son first class Dearman anymore, but Mr. Dearman, thank you all for coming. This day is surreal. I never thought I would retire from the military, true statement. for real. I was raised in the U.S. Army from my latter teenage years throughout my adult life. It's funny how it all started. I wanted to go to North Carolina State to be an engineer, to be an architect, which didn't happen because of funding. So this crafty recruiter named Staff Sergeant Gary gave me a call and sold me on a program the Army had at the time that would benefit me. The program is called the CONAP program. This program helped soldiers get into whatever school they wanted to attend. He sold it very well. He sold it so well, in fact, that instead of becoming an architect, I became a carpentry and masonry specialist. Back then, it was called a 51 Bravo. My first lesson is paying attention to detail was as follows. I enlisted in the delayed entry program 7 months before I graduated. My mother kept asking me if this is what I wanted to do during the time I was talking to my recruiter. And I looked at her, I said, yes, I'm sure. After I graduated from high school, my recruiter picked me up from home, nothing but one bag and a change of clothes. And 4 days later, I was in the military. But that night, he took me to Days Inn that evening behind the MEP station to rest. At 06 that morning, I was at the MEP station going through a physical, lots of paperwork, not knowing I was going to leave that same day. Like I said, this was my first lesson in paying attention to detail. I called my mom urgently and told her, Mom, I'm leaving today. And in a matter of minutes, my mom said, ma'am? I said, yes, ma'am. So she rushed up to the MEP station, brought me a sandwich and some chips. She always kept me fed because I was a skinny thing back then. But she looked at me, I looked at her, and she asked me again. She said, is this what you really wanted to do? And I looked at her, I said, yes, ma'am. That was my first major decision I made on my own. I love you, Mom. 25 years later, we made it. Quick letter. This letter is to the Army. Dear Army, it has been a long journey from beginning to end. When we first met, I thought I made a mistake. There was a lot of doubt, fear, and many tears we shared, especially in basic training, me hiding behind the wall locker crying like I want to go home. I wondered if our relationship would ever work out. Starting off, you did me so wrong by sending me over 3,000 miles away from home to Alaska for my first go around. But you made up for it down the line. You fed me, you clothed me, and you assured I had somewhere to lay my head, even if not always in a comfortable environment. In return, I gave you my time and perfected all my skills you taught me, from weapon firing, moving in a disciplined and orderly fashion from point A to point B, how to communicate in a language where everything is abbreviated, and being early to everything, even if that meant 3 hours or more. As time moved forward, you taught me how to lead, plan, and execute every mission that was given to me through all the training, the schools that you sent me to. You showed me how to speak with authority, confidence, and execute anything that you put before me. After you battle tested me and saw that I proved capable, you made me a member of the backbone of the Army, known as the Non-Commissioned Officer Corps, which was one of my greatest accomplishments. It's hard to say goodbye, but you have left me with fond memories, brothers, and sisters I will have for the rest of my life. And for that, I'm thankful. Sincerely yours, Sergeant First Class Demetrius Moore. P.S. I ask that you continue to train our next generation in the same manner that you trained me, with duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Some of the greatest people that I've ever met in my life has been my soldiers, my leaders. It's not what we do, it's who you meet in the process of it. Some of my partners, like our first Sergeant Bird, we was in Egypt together. Dearman was in Virginia Beach, Fort Story. A lot of people never heard of that place. It's so small. When you drive through, you drive out that quickly. And one of my squad leaders, who was an engineer director with me, Sergeant Pritchard Allen, we was in Afghanistan together, and it was some moments that shook us up pretty bad, and she kept me motivated. You know, hey, we got to keep moving. Especially, I got a story of a rocket hit to our back about 10 feet, and if it wasn't for 32 sheets of plywood, we wouldn't be standing here today. And after that, she left. And she's been through that same scenario and lost buddies in situations. And because of that, people like that we cross is what makes the Army the Army. But in closing, USARCENT, at its own, Essayance, U.S. Army, out.
for exceptionally mandatory service to the nation for over 25 years. Culminating as the engineer's non-commissioned officer in charge, United States Army Center. Sergeant First Class Moore, selfless sacrifice, expertise, dedication, professionalism are in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself, the United States Army Center, the Department of the Army, and the United States of America. The retirement certificate signifies that Sergeant First Class Moore has fulfilled his military obligations to our nation, our Army and nation. He has served faithfully and honorably for over 25 years and officially placed on the retired rolls. Brigadier General McCollum is now pending Sergeant First Class Moore retirement to be on his surveillance.
You guys can be seated if you'd like. I've got a tissue. There's a beautiful lady up here. I want her to take some pictures. She's going to do some pictures on the help her out. There we go. There. Would you stand? There you go. This is such a very big day, and it's such an occasion that it just touches all of the intellect of our classrooms about what we do. So I'm gonna make sure that she's with us also. Good. Okay. You got it, sweetie? Okay. You want to do that? Yeah, too. Okay, that's okay. It's okay. You're going to take some pictures right here. This is a certificate of retirement. He's already read it, so congratulations. Again, job well done. Let's take a picture. Let's all look at the camera right there. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Good.
Brigadier General McCollum is now pending Sergeant First Class retirement pin on his surveillance.
Okay. This is it. Once this is on your collar, don't try to come back.
Brigadier General McCollum will now present Sergeant First Class Moore his retirement flag. Sergeant Major Roller is now presenting Sergeant First Class Moore the Command Group Corps of Excellence. The Department of the Army Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Ms. Brown on behalf of her mother, Ms. Michelle Upton Moore, on the occasion of the retirement of her husband for active duty with the United States Army. Her family support and understanding helps make possible her husband's lasting contribution to the nation. Ms. Brown is now receiving the Commanding General Medal of Appreciation on behalf of her mother, Ms. Michelle Upton Moore.
There we go. That was big one there.
Sergeant First Class Moore is now presenting a bouquet of flowers and corn to his daughter, Ms. Michelle Brown. Denise Davis.
Ever since every deployment I've been on, every time I come back from a deployment, I give her a bear. So no matter how old she is, I give her a bear. This is the last bear I get to give her, so.
Our first class member now presenting his dog tag in the corner to his son, Mr. Demetrius Moore.
And I asked my mother to come forward.
And father.
And father.
Our first class board now presenting bouquet of flowers, going to his mother, Mrs. Dave Denise Day, and presenting his father, a coin.
Okay, we're gonna take this one, and we're gonna have all the family members to come up and the church members that came, okay? Take one.
One, two, three.
Everybody else, come on. Just put yourselves in here, you know how to do it. You gonna take a picture? You gonna put it in here, get in here, get tall too. You stand, okay? Anybody can stand in front of me. All right, let's get this. Okay, there we go.
Ready? One, two, three. One, two, three.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, our first class of Demetrius Moore, United States Army retired. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Jonathan McCullough.
I tell you what, there's nothing more beautiful than a family and friends coming together to honor the other. And we have a reciprocal where Sergeant Moore also gets to honor family and friends. And it's just a great thing and a beautiful thing to see. In conclusion, we want to thank so many people. We want to thank the family, the church members, etc. for coming out. Thank you for coming to USARCENT today to be with us this day, to recognize Sergeant Moore and to be recognized as in the greatness of America, because you are the epitome of the greatness of America. And we're very glad you're able to be with us today. I want to thank the band for the music today. Thank you so very much. They're always coming out. We really appreciate you guys. The MC of the day, and for all others who came out, all those others who put together, who were instrumental. I can't see your name, Sergeant, but for your participation as well. So with that being said, Sergeant Moore, I leave these final words with you. And I always quote this guy. He wrote a book called Finishing Strong. One a great author. And I'll tell you that you've only moved to the next phase, but finishing strong has to be the goal in life. You still have the rest of your life. You still have much more to conquer, much more to do. I would urge that you finish strong, not just second, but finish strong. The last part, you served well. You maintained your post, and you kept it until you were properly relieved. Sergeant Moore, you are properly relieved on the day you retire. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the retirement melody will now be played in honor of our retired soldiers.
Soldiers,
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing and singing of the Army song. The words are located in your program.
The army's on its way, count off the cadence loud and strong.